Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. You can tell by the title, I am afraid. You know, I hear that phrase a lot from private correspondence, from followers and friends who see me going out in the woods and doing my stuff, and they say, but I'm afraid of, and they're afraid of snakes, they're afraid of bugs, they're afraid of what's out there in the dark, they're afraid of mountain lions, they're afraid of rabid coons, rabid dogs, they're afraid of evil people out there in the dark with, you know, evil intent and things like that. They are afraid. Well, I want you to understand something off the very beginning. Everyone is afraid of something. Now, whether it's a big, mean, vicious dog, or it's heights, or ladders, or roller coasters, or spiders, or snakes, or bears, or mountain lions, or scorpions, clowns. I mean, everybody has a fear of something. It's just human nature. But most of us will not admit what we're afraid of because we don't want people to make fun of us or ridicule us or whatever. And it can be debilitating sometimes for people out of sheer fear of encountering whatever this is out there. Now let me tell you about a friend of mine who's now passed away, so I can say this. He was in law enforcement and he worked in a jail. He was a jailer for many years at the county jail. Big, burly, strapping man, powerful, not afraid of anything. You know, mix it up, fights. He was the one you wanted to send in there. Not a problem. But he had a secret. He had an absolute debilitating fear of something. And it was something that when you tell people what it is, they're going to laugh. But I saw it firsthand. And I have heard many stories about this. And what was this big mountain of a man afraid of? Being tickled. You think I'm kidding? No. His sister walked in the room one day and he had made her mad, and she started walking at him going, "Come here!" And he picked up a chair and threw it through a plate glass window in his mama's house to get out of the room because she had him blocked. He was that terrified of being tickled. I know that is not in the top 10 of fears. But it was debilitating for him, and that was the super big secret that no one could ever mention or know anything about because he's a jailer. He's somebody that you didn't have to physically tickle. You could just start walking toward him like that, and he freaked out. You know, he could be 10 feet away, and you could go, and he would jump, just like he actually did it. It was comical, you know. But it was a debilitating fear of his. Now, how and why that came up, I don't know. But you would have never, ever, ever took that big, strong, strapping man and ever thought of something like that would be a fear of his. But it was. Everybody has a fear. And so here's your challenge. I want you to understand this. This is the beginning. That the road to wisdom begins with the statement, I do not know. And therefore, you go for it and you educate. Fear. I am afraid of, you plug in whatever it is, and you admit to yourself, I have a fear of bears, dogs, mountain lions, wild animals, whatever, bad weather, tornadoes, whatever it is. And then here's what you're going to do for that. I want you to remember this. Fear, F.E.A.R. Fear stands for fully educate and research. Fully educate and research. If you have a fear of spiders, you need to fully educate yourself and research spiders. You're afraid of them, right? Then you need to know the various kinds. Is this just a spider, or is this a really bad spider, like a brown recluse or a black widow or something like that? You need to educate yourself. You need to know the habitat, the habits, the preferences of these things, so that when you're coming in facing into the situation, after you have fully educated and researched it, you can go, wait a minute, these old boxes have been out here in storage. This is prime habitat for brown recluses and black widows. And I've got to go through this for my job. Okay, put on the long sleeves, put on the gloves, and be watching for them. Because this is the environment that they're going to like. Because you have researched and educated their preferred habitat, their preferred food source. Hey, see these moths over here? You have fully learned that those in that web, those stipply, spiky looking like egg sacs, well, that's a black widow. You've educated yourself, and therefore you know more. Now, something's going to happen when you do these. You may not lose the fear, but you'll find respect and understanding and empowering for this fear, because then you'll know what to look for when it is, quote, quote, safer and not as safe. Okay? Now, for example, let's say it is snakes. Okay? If you have a fear of snakes, by fully educating yourself on what are the types of snakes that are in my environment, what are the venomous ones in my environment, I need to be able to identify them, to be able to see that that's not just a plain bad snake, that's a really bad snake, so to speak, and understand how they strike, what is the strike radius, all of these factors, so that you can educate yourself, so that you realize whenever you do come around the corner, oh my God, that's a rattlesnake, and you're 10 feet away and you know he can't strike beyond that range. He can't strike that far out. He can only strike like 3 or 4 feet out from him. As long as I stay here, I can walk in a big circle around him and he can't get me. He's not going to chase me. He's laying in the sun. Why is he out in the sun? It's the time of day he's doing it. And you have educated and researched it, so you know why he's out there, and that he ain't here to get you. He just happened to be here and you blundered up on him. But from that empowerment that you're going to have, you're going to be able to better see and understand that which you fear. See, I hear all the time about people going, oh, I'd love to get into bushcraft. I'd love to come out and camp out, but you know, I've grown up in a city and I'm scared of wild animals. Okay, then let's educate you. I'm scared of ants and stuff. I'm scared I'm gonna get bit and I'm just gonna sit down and be covered in ants. Then let us educate you. See, the road to wisdom begins with a statement, I do not know. The road to conquering your fear begins with the statement, I am afraid of, and I will fully educate and research that fear, so that then you understand and know. That's the key to be able to do it. Now, in an upcoming video, I will, for those of you that's got a snake phobia, I will be talking about my 50 years experience of living in lower Alabama, where we've got all the venomous snakes and all the major snakes and etc. And I'm going to give you my insight and experience of 50 years of being around snakes. And I hope that it helps you with your fear to better understand them. And that will be in an upcoming video. But in conclusion, understand, you're not special. I'm sorry. Everybody has a fear of something. The one that says, I have absolutely no fear of nothing, is lying, because they don't want you to know what it is. They're afraid you're going to laugh. Like my friend who was afraid of being tickled. You know, it doesn't matter whether I think that's kind of funny. It was that debilitating to him. So if another friend over here has a fear of clowns, a fear of dogs, a fear of bears, a fear of snakes, of spiders, of being bit, being lost, whatever, of tornadoes. It doesn't matter what I think. It matters what they think in this. I should be respectful of their fear and try to help educate them and research it so that they can better control their fear, better understand their fear, and ultimately, hopefully, not be afraid anymore. Hope you've enjoyed this content, guys. If you have, please hit that like, share, and subscribe down there. And I'd love to hear from you if you have a fear that you're trying to deal with. Till next time, guys, I'm Blackie wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.